Before the thunder of prophecy echoed through Israel, before kings wore crowns in Jerusalem, a quiet anguish in the heart of one woman cried out to heaven, weaving a thread of desperation and faith that would shape the destiny of a nation. This is the story of Hannah. In the hill country of Ephraim, many generations ago, lived a devout man named Elcana. He faithfully followed the traditions of his fathers, journeying each year to the sacred Shiloh, the resting place of the Lord's tabernacle, to worship and offer sacrifice. Presiding over the holy rites were the priests of the Lord, Eli and his two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, men whose service, though established, would soon be tested. Elkanah's life, however, was marked by a deep personal complexity. He had two wives, a custom not uncommon in those times. One was Peninnah, blessed with the laughter and presence of sons and daughters. The other was Hannah. Elkanah loved Hannah deeply, his heart cleaving to her with a special tenderness. Yet, a profound shadow lay over their love. Hannah was barren. This sadness became a weapon in Peninnah's hands. Each year, as Elkanah distributed portions of the peace offering, he gave shares to Peninnah and all her children. But to Hannah, he would give a double portion, a clear sign of his favor. This very favor seemed to ignite Peninnah's spite. Seeing Hannah's childlessness, Peninnah would provoke her relentlessly, taunting her year after year, especially during the sacred pilgrimage to Shiloh, turning a time of worship into one of intense misery for Hannah. Peninnah's words were like sharp arrows, continuously piercing deep into Hannah's heart. Overwhelmed, Hannah would weep, refusing to eat, her spirit crushed. Even Elkanah's gentle reassurance, "Hannah, why do you weep? Why don't you eat? Why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons?" could not reach the depths of her inconsolable longing. Her grief was a chasm only God could fill. Time passed. One day, the bitterness became unbearable. After the ritual meal in Shiloh, while others felt the warmth of food and fellowship, Hannah felt only the cold ache of her emptiness. She rose, leaving the lively sounds of the feast behind, and sought the solemn presence of God in his tabernacle. There, near the doorpost, sat Eli, the aged high priest, observing the worshippers. But Hannah saw only the threshold between her despair and divine hope. In profound bitterness of soul, she poured out her heart to the Lord. Tears streamed down her face, not silent drops of sorrow, but the anguished weeping of a spirit pushed to its limit. She prayed, not with loud cries that might echo in the holy space, but with the silent, fervent intensity of a soul laid bare before its maker. Her lips moved, shaping the pleas her voice could not utter, a testament to a grief too deep for sound. Then, in that hallowed silence, she made a solemn vow, a desperate bargain forged in faith. "O Lord of hosts," her heart cried out, "if you will indeed look upon the affliction of your maidservant and remember me, and not forget your maidservant, but will give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall ever come upon his head." It was a sacred pledge, offering back to God the very gift she craved above all else. As Hannah continued in this fervent, silent communion, Eli the priest watched her closely. He observed her lips moving continuously, yet heard no sound escape them. In the dim light of the tabernacle, perhaps accustomed more to boisterous petitions or drunken revelry spilling over from feasts, he misinterpreted her deep spiritual anguish. He saw not profound prayer, but the apparent incoherence of intoxication. The aged priest confronted her sharply, his voice cutting through her private grief. "How long will you keep on getting drunk? Put your wine away from you." Startled by the priest's harsh words, Hannah immediately defended herself, her voice now finding utterance, tinged not with wine, but with sorrow and respect. "No, my lord," she answered earnestly. "I am a woman deeply troubled. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord." She implored him not to misjudge her, explaining, Do not regard your maidservant as a wicked woman, for all this time I have been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation. Hearing the raw honesty and pain in her voice, seeing the clarity in her eyes despite the tears, Eli understood his error. The intensity he had mistaken for drunkenness was, in fact, profound spiritual desperation. His demeanor softened. Recognizing the depth of her plea, he offered words of peace and divine affirmation. "Go in peace," he pronounced, his priestly authority lending weight to his words. "And may the God of Israel grant your petition that you have asked of him." A palpable sense of release washed over Hannah. It was as if the priest's blessing, spoken under the roof of God's own dwelling, was a tangible confirmation that her prayer had been heard. Hope rekindled within her. With newfound serenity, she replied, "Let your maidservant find favor in your sight." Then she ate, nourishment now welcome, and her face was no longer etched with sadness. The burden had been lifted, replaced by quiet anticipation. With the pilgrimage concluded, Elcana and his household rose early the next morning. After worshipping before the Lord one last time in Shiloh, they turned their faces toward home, embarking on the familiar journey back to Ramah. But this time, something had shifted within Hannah. The heavy cloak of despair had been replaced by the light garment of hope, woven from her fervent prayer and Eli's blessing. Upon their return, in the privacy of their home, Elcana knew Hannah his wife, expressing his love and companionship. And in that union, the divine promise began to unfold. The Lord, who sees the silent cries of the heart, remembered Hannah. He heard the vow whispered in anguish within the tabernacle walls and looked upon the affliction of his maidservant. In the fullness of time, the undeniable proof of God's favor manifested. Hannah conceived. The months passed, carrying within them the growing miracle she had so desperately sought. Then, the day arrived when she bore a son. Cradling the infant, the embodiment of answered prayer, she declared his name, Samuel. For, as she explained with a heart overflowing with gratitude, "I have asked for him from the Lord." The name itself became a perpetual testimony, echoing the plea that had ascended from Shiloh and the faithfulness of the God who had answered. Time flowed onward, marked by the changing seasons and the growth of the promised child. When the appointed time arrived for Elcana and his entire household to make their annual pilgrimage to Shiloh, to present the yearly sacrifice and fulfill any vows made, Hannah remained behind. She explained her decision to her husband, her heart resolute. "Not until the child is weaned, then I will take him, that he may appear before the Lord and remain there forever." Her intention was clear. The vow made in tears would be honored in faithfulness. Elcana, understanding the depth of her commitment and the sacred nature of her promise, supported her decision. "Do what seems best to you," he said gently. "Wait until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord establish his word." So Hannah stayed in Ramah, her days devoted to nurturing the young Samuel. Every moment with him was precious, a tangible reminder of God's mercy. She poured her love and care into the boy who was both a gift and a loan, preparing him and herself for the sacred service that awaited him. Finally, the day came when Samuel was weaned. The sacred moment of making the vows had come to her. With unwavering resolve, Hannah prepared for the journey. She did not go empty-handed. Accompanying her and the young child were substantial offerings: 3 bulls, a full ephah of flour, and a skin brimming with wine. Gifts worthy of the magnitude of her promise and the king she served. She brought Samuel, still so young, to the house of the Lord in Shiloh. There, after the customary sacrifice of a bull, she approached the aged priest Eli, the boy Samuel by her side. With quiet dignity, she addressed the high priest. "Oh, my lord, as your soul lives, my lord, I am the woman who stood by you here, praying to the Lord." She gently reminded him of that desperate moment years before. "For this child I prayed," she continued, her voice steady with emotion and conviction. "And the Lord has granted me my petition that I asked of him. So I gave it to God. All its life it will be for God." With these words, the promise was sealed, the gift returned to the giver. And there, in the hallowed space of the tabernacle, they worshipped the Lord together. And so, within the sacred precincts of Shiloh, under the watchful eye of Eli, and dedicated to divine service from his youth, Samuel grew. He increased not only in physical stature, but in wisdom and favor, his young heart uniquely attuned to the voice of God in a way that few others were. The child born of a desperate prayer became the man chosen for a divine purpose. He rose to become one of Israel's greatest prophets and judges, a pivotal figure who would anoint kings, guide the nation through turbulent times, and speak the words of the Lord with unwavering clarity and authority. But the Lord's grace toward Hannah did not cease with the gift and dedication of Samuel. Having honored her vow with such unwavering faith, she found that God's generosity overflowed. The Lord visited Hannah again, turning his favor upon her once more. In the years following her faithful dedication of Samuel, she conceived and bore 3 more sons and 2 daughters. The home that once echoed with the silence of childlessness now resonated with the sounds of a full and thriving family, a testament to God's abundant blessing upon his devoted servant. Hannah's journey resonates across the ages as a powerful saga of faith, perseverance, and the undeniable potency of heartfelt prayer. Her story is etched into sacred history not only as a story of longing answered, but also as a profound testament to God's love. God always listens to the silent cry of the suffering, remembers the forgotten, and can turn the deepest sorrow into overwhelming joy. Through years of barrenness and the sharp sting of rivalry, Hannah clung to her trust in the Lord. She did not succumb to bitterness indefinitely, but channeled her anguish into fervent supplication, laying bare her soul at the threshold of the divine. Her unwavering faith, culminating in a solemn vow and its faithful execution, did not just bring personal fulfillment. It set in motion events that would shape Israel's future. The son she received and surrendered became the bridge between the era of judges and the dawn of the monarchy, a guiding light for his people. Hannah's life stands as a vivid illustration that even when circumstances seem immutable, even when human hope dwindles, steadfast trust in the Lord can unlock miraculous interventions and blessings far exceeding what was initially asked or imagined. Her transformation from weeping in Shiloh's courts to rejoicing in God's abundant provision offers timeless inspiration. We witness in Hannah not just a historical figure, but an embodiment of hope, proof that our deepest pains can become the catalyst for our greatest testimonies when placed in God's hands. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Hannah's incredible story. If her faith has inspired you, please show your support by subscribing, liking this video, and sharing it with others who might find encouragement here. We'd love to continue bringing these powerful narratives to life. What story of faith and divine intervention from these ancient texts would you like to explore next? Let us know in the comments below.